Hello everyone, I am Ryan from the Mizuho BBS channel. For those of you who haven't heard about us or even know what this channel is, the Mizuho BBS channel is the official YouTube channel for the Mizuho community, which is a community themed around the Tales series. We love the Tales series, we're big fans. And we also have a podcast, which I'd like to talk about right now and show you guys sort of how we do it, how we record the podcast and upload it and edit it. If you've never heard of our podcast, the Skit style BBS podcast is the official podcast of the Mizuho community. We're a weekly general gaming podcast themed on the Tales series. Essentially, we talk about various topics and regarding video games, anime, music, movies, comic books in general, as well as the various Tales games. We're just a big gaming geeky group. I host it and run it with my buddies Stan and Ryo, and Stan uploads the podcast previews on his YouTube channel, which there will be a link in the description, so you can subscribe to him, which you should, because he also makes his own content. And he also essentially runs the Mizuho Plays on the YouTube channel, which if you want to see more, you should definitely subscribe to us, and I will tell you again, because that's how you YouTube. But today I'd like to tell you guys about how we do the podcast. I'm going to go over the steps, various things that we do. I may not get to everything due to me being an idiot who forgets things, but if there's anything that comes up, there may be an amendment, or if you have any questions, please type them in the comments, and I will do my best to answer them. But first, what we do is throughout the week, because we record it every Saturday, we try and find different news bits that we like, and of course we talk about the Tales series, like this one being the latest thing. It's a rumor that Tales of Hearts might be coming out in English, courtesy of Abyssal Chronicles, who got it from a listing on GameStop for upcoming games. And again, this is a rumor, so take it with a grain of salt. Now, we've already covered this particular one on the latest episode 162, which should be up by the time this video goes up. But let's say we haven't covered it yet, so that'd be one news bit we would cover. And then I also get my news from a Siliconera. We like to cover just all kinds of news. Because we want you guys to be informed on things, and of course we like doing the news, and also because I really like doing the news. I really like anime and video game news. That's one of the things I enjoy doing throughout each day. I check it every day, sometimes multiple times a day, so that's generally my thing. But Siliconera is one of the sites I go to. I also go to Crunchyroll and Anime News Network and other sites. But here's an interesting one, a Toon Link Nendoroid, which for those of you who don't know what a Nendoroid is, it's essentially a tiny, slightly articulated figure that gets made of different anime. Some people like to collect them, and there are Tales ones. There's one of Leon, which I happen to have. They're not really that articulated, though, so they're not like real action figures. But this is one news bit. I like action figures, so I sometimes cover news. And so let's say two news bits I'm going to cover are this one and this one. So for Abyssal Chronicles and any other site using Fusion News, I go to the post comment, and it takes me to here, so I can just have a link to the actual article itself. Then what we all do is we go to our message board, which we're gonna work on. There used to be a logo right here, and we're gonna work on it. Friggin' Pro Boards had to update on us and ruin everything. No, I'm just kidding. Pro Boards is awesome, but go to create thread for the new topic. And let's call this one LOL Podcast OMG 1121314. That's not even numbers. But what I'll do is I will post the links so we all will see them. And of course, we also just usually post the topic. We don't always post the topic here, but what we usually discuss it throughout the week, or we have a general idea of what we want to do. And when we all meet together on like Friday, we discuss it, and sometimes we there's something we're planning on talking about, like the Star Ocean thing, for example. That's been planned, but I'm not actually gonna post this. Though I will go ahead and say that even though we already did the Tales of Hearts one, I will include the tune link. So if any of you guys listen to the podcast already, which you definitely should, there will be a link to the podcast website so you can take a listen. Consider this a little preview for what I might be talking about for news. So we post it there, and then you guys ready?
Yep.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Skit Style BBS Podcast, episode 162.
Yeah, it's been kind of a downtime. We're just sort of waiting for a big event to happen.
Right. It's definitely something. I just got finished having a friggin' laughing riot.
Yeah.
We got ourselves a nice group of people here as usual. We've got Stan.
My avatar on Skype right now is a really cheap punchline.
We've also got Ryo.
Meh.
And we've got Sheena.
Hi.
That's not Sheena's voice.
Like, oh my god, Ryan, yes it is Sheena's voice. Will you just, shut the fuck up?
I'll allow that one. Today we've got a lot of news. I know Ryo has a lot of Super Smash Brothers news, and PAX is going on, and so there'll be an influx of news probably next week. I was looking for stuff, and I didn't see too much. The one thing I will note is that they're apparently doing a PAX South, which will be useful to people like me who live in the South. But that's...
You silly Southerners.
Hope you enjoy that little snippet of episode 162. That'll be up soon, and there will be a link in the description for those who want to take a listen and try to follow us. We record the podcast over Skype using Pamela, which is a program used to record Skype calls. This is the full version. The free version only lets you do 15 minutes at a time, which we've done in the past, but doesn't really work out that well. And this is the cheapest version of the full version. I might upgrade to a better one later on for better audio quality because it only does so much. And we're all in different states, so we don't have too much control over the audio. Otherwise, we'd all be using super expensive mics like this one here that I'm using, which I'll explain later on. But as far as editing the podcast, we do it in Audacity. Like, here's the latest one, 162. I'm actually editing it right now as we speak. It's nice and pretty. But there are different things that go on during a podcast, and of course I used to use a Windows Movie Maker, which made things worse, so taking some of this stuff, taking any issues out, is more difficult in that, so I have to use Audacity to do it. Like, let's say, for example, let's say that one of our audios, someone's audio is really low due to either their mic not being that good or it's just not at really good settings.
Yes. Hi, Ryan.
Hello.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
You're really low.
I'm low.
Yes.
Quiet.
Okay. How's that?
A lot better.
Right. So as you heard, my audio wasn't really doing too well, but there are some ways we can fix that. I mean, we can re-record it if we need to, and of course, this kind of stuff we have under control by the time we do the podcast. But let's say it happens like in the middle, like for some reason Skype decides to lower the volume because some of us are being too loud or something. I think yeah. I'm good. How are you guys doing? Right. That's what I can do is I can amplify it here, and it gives you a number. Just amplify it, and then it's a little bit louder. I'm good. How you guys doing? Right, but as you can see, there's a lot of background noise here. So, and of course, for here, it's auto. It was generated from amplifying it, so I'll get to background noise just in general later on. Little sidetrack, I had to throw that in. But here's the background noise here, and I will show you guys once again when I do background noise that actually comes up. As you can hear, you don't have to do I'd say the longer background noise the better personally, but that's just me. And then you go here, noise removal. What you do here is you get what's called a noise profile. And then for this section, normally you just click the entire thing, but let's say just for this section, because this is the only part of the audio that really has the background noise.
I'm good. How you guys doing?
That's what it sounds like right before, and here's what it'll sound like. There we go. As you can see, it's not perfect, obviously. You might have to work with it a little bit, but
I'm good. How you guys doing?
And this may not be the best example, and like I said, what we usually do is redo the audio. And of course, you can do this more than once, so there we go.
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Right. Still not perfect, but this is essentially what you can do, and then you can level it to fix up things, and that might help a little bit.
How are you?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
You're really low.
Right. So that helps a little bit, though usually we have that stuff done beforehand. And here's an example of actual background noise, and this is from the latest Mizuho plays that will be going up soon.
Okay, Pammy Whammy is going, woeing.
I bet you wish you had a suit, huh, Sheena?
She probably does. She doesn't even have a blazer.
She says yes.
As you can see, the audio in general was fine, but there was a bit of background noise. Luckily, me being the genius that I am, I recorded background noise beforehand.
Yes.
How many?
I have no idea.
Stan was asking me to do push-ups because he's mean. I only did 40, but again, so we can do that. And the great thing about Audacity is that you don't have to take edit using just one track. I'm using mono, and I know a lot of people probably use stereo. I prefer mono personally. You do have to get separate noise profiles if you are using a different source, because if you try to take away background noise from one source using noise profile of another source, it might not work too well, because different audio setups. But we've got and then we can go back to here, take out the noise again, and you can play around with this as well. I just leave it as is, because I feel like if I do anything, I might mess it up. It usually takes a while for longer audio pieces. This is, I believe, only a 15-minute long. Let me check. It's around 15 minutes or so. But with this, with the audio remove, this is what it's going to sound like.
Okay, Pammy Whammy is going, woeing.
I bet you wish you had a suit, huh, Sheena?
She probably does. She doesn't even have a blazer.
She says yes.
Right, so not perfect, but we were able to remove a fair amount of the background noise. And you can still hear a little bit, but of course with the game audio for the Mizuho plays, it's going to sound a lot better than it would with the background noise. So that's useful. Now, there may be an instance where someone has to step away for a moment. This is probably our more common parts, and we usually pause the recording when we do this, but maybe there's a time where I forget to, or we're talking about something and I might want to include it as a later thing. But this is what an example of a pause would sound like, for example.
I really like AA batteries. What do you think, Stan?
Well, I don't see why they're not the stock standard for everything. I mean, what the hell uses AAA anymore?
Why the fuck are we talking about AA batteries?
Why not? They power your shit.
So fucking what?
What was that, Nadia?
I'll be right back.
Okay.
God, we gotta wait now.
Dude, fuck you too and your random bullshit.
Right, and we continue on for a bit, and I believe it's maybe around here or so that she comes back.
Hope Nadia gets back soon.
Yeah, well. What
I
can
hope
you
we can
do?
stop talking about those fucking batteries.
I'll probably have to cut out this long, rambling thing so we're on track.
But I like rambling.
Yeah, you would.
I'm back.
Oh,
Oh,
hello.
good. Alright, so back on topic.
Right, and of course, since this is such a short clip, it's kind of hard. But let's say this is a part of something, so let me find a good spot to cut.
Anymore.
Why the fuck are we talking about AA batteries?
What? Why not? They power your shit.
So
Coffee.
fucking what?
What was that, Nadia?
Let's say right here, because right here, even though Ryo's comment was quite funny, Nadia kind of tried to jump in a little bit. So I might have to cut that out. So let's say right here, and of course, naturally for the because the clip is so short, it would really be like this. So, but let's say here we go. Right there, and not the most, but let's say right here.
Well, I don't see why they're not the stock standard for everything. I mean, what the hell uses AAA anymore?
Why the fuck are we talking about AA batteries?
What? Why not? They power your shit.
Alright, so back on topic.
And of course, I can work with it a little bit because obviously my dialogue sounds a little separate from everything because, I start off with this.
Alright, so back on topic.
So right here,
Alright, so
there we go. And I can cut that out. So do that right here.
The fuck are we talking about AA batteries?
What? Why not? They power your shit.
back on topic.
Right. It does sound a little awkward. Admittedly, when I was recording this, I didn't really structure it that well because, lol, we actually recorded this for the specific purpose of showing off stuff. But that's how we do it. And I can bring it in a little bit like, let's say I want to make it sound like I'm interrupting Stan a little bit because I'm like, we need to get back on topic. But I could do that.
Your shit.
Back on topic.
Right. And even then my tone's a little messed up, rather, not mess up. Past tense, but that's usually how we handle things. And at the end, like I do, I take out any unnecessary background noise. Right. Stuff we've already, stuff I've shown you already. And in this case, I will do the entire one. And I wouldn't do it in this order because by what I'm about to do, well, you'll see.
I really like AA batteries. What do you think, Stan?
Well, I don't see.
Took it out a little bit, but what I was trying to get is, after that, I like to level the audio. And in this case, it brings the audio up a little bit.
I really like.
And as you see, it brought back audio background noise again. So I would recommend, if you're thinking about doing a podcast in Audacity, I would recommend leveling it first and then doing the noise removal, because then after you level it, you can take the noise profile of the amplified audio. That's generally, I think, how it should be. And, of course, we like to do the intro and outro and whatnot. Like, here's a little intro here. Yeah, you've heard it already. But what I'll usually do is copy it over, then take it to here, post it. No, that's one thing else I need to be worried about. Sometimes Audacity likes to make a separate track, and I prefer to work in mono, personally. I just think it's easier. I don't like having to manage two tracks. I've done it before. I have mixed a fan dub before. It was a song. Another thing is that Audacity likes to crash, very rarely. There's a bit of space here, but anyway, here's how it'll sound.
Hello,
And what I usually do is I like to cut out the space a little bit. It doesn't have to be, like, let's say right here. All right. Do this.
Hello, everyone.
And there you go. That's how we do the podcast. Of course, we level it, and there's a background song that or like an outro song that comes right here, which you've already heard. Hint, hint. But that's how we do the podcast. Then, I just go over here and I export it and save it. And then after that, what I usually do is I upload it to Churbit here, which is our hosting website. That's where we host all the podcast episodes. And of course, you can follow us just from Twitter. Well, you can also follow us on Twitter, which you should. You can follow us on Churbit, and that's where you will get constant updates on the podcast, because we upload there first. We actually upload to the website second, and Facebook later on as well. Sheena handles the Facebook page of the podcast. We have a Facebook group for Mizuho, but that place is secret. You're not allowed to be part of it yet. Wink. But like, this is where we can post it, and like, this is where it goes, and you can also listen to it on here. This podcast features adult. Yeah, you've heard good old Lloyd doing his little disclaimer. I should probably redo it at some point, because I'm the one who actually does the Lloyd voice. But, no, you're not. Yeah, I actually am. That was me trying to be cute. Now, afterwards, I like to post it. Our website is done on Webs. I know there are places like Wix and Weebly. I have used Wix before, but I prefer Webs just because it's structured better, I think, because Wix seemed very, very linear, linear, I guess. I don't think that's the right word. It's more artsy. Like, you kind of have to put things together. Like, if you've used Dreamweaver, you have an idea of what I'm talking about, I think. And I go to the home page where I edit it, and I usually post it right here. Of course, if I go to edit, I'll be able to edit it pretty easily. Like, if I want to put a bunch of H's there, I can do that. Now, with this in mind, and this is part of the reason why some of the episodes have been late, I can post here, but I can't do anything here. Webs won't let me. So, yeah, but here's the thing. If you go to raw HTML paragraph, you can, type all you want. If you want to just type code. So, at this point, and just to be careful about it, what I usually do is I post the episode and Microsoft Expression Web 4, and what I like to do is just take out all this unnecessary HTML because it just throws me off. But essentially what it is, it's like a poor man's version of Dreamweaver. You can design a website here, and the code, the HTML, will actually show up here. You can do a split here if you want to see both. But, let's say our topic for this week is Lord of the Rings, for example. So I would say, this week, the gang talks about the popular Lord of the Rings books and movies. And so I do this, and I try to do it all in one paragraph just because I think it's easier for me. And let's just pretend this is a certain podcast, but I'll go here and I'll embed it. And I'll only do this one right here. I think this one's not really that necessary, so I just do this, copy it, and I'm recording this with Fraps, if you couldn't already tell, because you totally can't see it right here. But then I will just paste that there, and then when you go to design, it actually shows up. It takes a little bit to actually show up, but yeah, here you go. And of course, if you look at the code, it actually shows the code. And then what I usually do, like with news bits, do this, and let's say, it's the rumor, Tales of Hearts are coming to the West. And of course, if you remember, we've got the had to forgot it. Don't have the link open, but that's okay. Professionalism. But here we go, and I'll just copy the link over, and your HTML is saved over, so you don't have to worry about it being you don't have to worry about it being like messing up because you're taking it somewhere else. I mean, it's code, and all the code's in the actual coding. So, yeah, that makes sense. Coding is in the code. That should be a T-shirt. We go to hyperlink, and then I just do this, and then there you go. And I just do it like that. I post all the news bits that we've covered, and anything that I do, I usually have a text document open to for any things we're talking about during the podcast that gets thrown in at the last minute. But I just post everything, and I usually have like a podcast or something that I'm listening to, or a Let's Play while I'm doing it. But yeah, I just sit here and I type it up. Okay, so now I've got a finished post here with, little preview of what we did and the episode stuff and news biz. This is just an example. This isn't an actual episode. I used 159 as an example, but yeah, so after it's done, what I usually do is I go into the code and I just copy all this because, while I was designing it in here, it was actually making code. And if you know about Dreamweaver, then you probably it does the same thing though with with Dreamweaver. It's a little more streamlined, whereas with here it's just very rigid. So what I do is go over to the website and then I'll just go to click new paragraph, and as you can see, it's still not really working, but what I can do is go to raw HTML paragraph, and I paste it. We will call this bligadigadigadigada, and then there we go. And yep, now the episode has been posted, and then I'll go into the archive and do the same thing, except I usually take out the little preview thing, but yep. Obviously I'm not going to leave that there. But yeah. Then I click publish, and from there the podcast is live, and then of course I post it. Then I send it to Stan for the preview, and there you go. That's generally how we do the podcast, and that's how we operate. And of course we use webs, like I said before. If you want to find us, you can follow us on Twitter at Mizuho Podcast. We post stuff mainly from the YouTube and the Sherbet feed. That's generally how we roll. But if you follow us, it'll give you a update on the podcast pretty quickly because of how we have it set up. Sherbet posts for us when the episode comes out. So, and also, of course, you should subscribe to our YouTube channel, Mizuho BBS channel, where you're probably watching this video. This is sort of our Tales collaborative channel, and you should definitely check us out. As you see, we've got the Mizuho plays going on and all that good junk, and there'll be more content coming, so be sure to subscribe if you like our content. And we've got the Mizuho BBS Podcast Facebook group. Just posted a 161. It was a little late. Sorry about that. But we've got it up now, and you can like us. And yeah, that's generally how we do things.